Well, hello guys, it is that time once again for another edition of Odds and Ends, where I read you some really weird news stories from all over the world, and hey, they don't call it Odds and Ends for a reason, you know? Well, I guess things did kind of come up last minute and kind of took over the course of the day though, but I know I keep making promises and I've been like the worst liar ever, but I know as soon as I get my source for the next edition of Odds and Ends, I will deliver to you right away, like it used to be on Thursdays. So, Thursdays, Odds and Ends, that's all I'm going to say, but I have my source right here, and I'm sure you guys are pretty anxious to hear what's going on in the world of crazy shenanigans, so without further ado, let's get going. Our first story comes out of Germany, where authorities are on the hunt for the Cookie Monster, who is believed to have stolen an antique golden cookie from a famed banking company and is holding it for ransom. German food company Baslin, can't pronounce that for the life of me, but it's spelled Bahlsen, said the oversized metal, quote, Lebensbiscuit was snatched from a statue in front of the company's headquarters in Hanover, where it was hung since 1913. After the iconic cookie's disappearance on January 21st, company chairman Werner Bahlsen, this is gonna kill me, I swear to God. Bahlsen offered a reward for the cookie's return, totaling just over $1,300. 2 days later, the Hannoversche Allgemeine Zeitung, God, I cannot pronounce German for the life of me. This is gonna help me. Newspaper received a letter purporting to be from the thief. Included with the letter with the picture of a person dressed as the, quote, Sesame Street character Cookie Monster, pretending to take a bite out of the 44-pound Linbens cookie. The ransom note, made from cut-out newspaper clippings, demanded that the company, quote, give biscuits to all the children in Bolt Hospital, but those with milk chocolate, not those with dark chocolate, and those without chocolate. The letter also demanded that the $1,353.90 reward money be donated to a local animal shelter. Quote, this is serious, warned the ransom note. If Bahlsen fails to deliver on demand, Cookie Monster warns the golden cookie, quote, we'll end up with Oscar the Grouch in the trash can. Investigators are not yet sure if the metal cookie in the photo is the actual metal cookie from Listen. Quote, the ransom note and the photo have been forwarded to criminologists for investigation. A police spokesperson in Hanover said, as for the Cookie Monster's demands, we refuse to be blackmailed, Chairman Boston said at a news conference. God, there's so many words to... God, I swear I just want to murder that and myself because I cannot talk, but... So let's break this down. A guy steals a golden cookie, dressed up as Cookie Monster. Way to go, dude. Now the world is going to always think of Cookie Monster as the guy who stole a giant golden 43-pound cookie from Germany. Way to go. But aside from that, give what? What did you say? He wanted, cut out newspaper clippings, gave biscuits to all the children in hospital. Okay. You could have done that in your own spare time, and then the nearly $1,353.90 reward money to an animal shelter. Okay, you could have done that in your own spare time. You don't have to steal a 43-pound cookie just to make a point and dress up as Cookie Monster. And quote-unquote Oscar the Grouch as your accomplice. That's really going to really help criminal investigators, dude. So way to go. Moving on to our next story, which comes out of Nebraska, where authorities in Lincoln shockingly discovered a marijuana growing operation after a group of teenagers called police to report their marijuana pipes had been stolen. According to the Lincoln Journal-Star, officers were called to a house at around 4:30 a.m. on the morning of Saturday, January 26th. Residents said two strangers, one of them armed with a handgun, broke into the house and took 2 hookah pipes worth $35. Officers interviewing the residents said they quickly became, quote, evasive and uncooperative. The officer spotted marijuana, smoking paraphernalia, and several bottles of fertilizer laying around the house. They also saw a light shining from under a padlocked door and a power cord snaking into the room. After obtaining a search warrant, police found 3 marijuana plants, growing lights, and other equipment. Police arrested 19-year-old Danner Kawa Hassan on suspicions of manufacturing marijuana and ticketed his roommates for having marijuana paraphernalia. The hookahs have not been recovered. Okay, dude. So, you are stupid enough to call police knowing the fact that you are growing marijuana in the basement. Way to go, stupid ass. You should have thought it through. If somebody steals hookah pipes at $35, big freaking deal. You have the money for the marijuana that you're going to go buy your own and resupply it. You don't have to call the freaking police just because someone stole it and it's drugs, because not only are you going to be in trouble, but other people involved as well. And smoking marijuana paraphernalia, I'm sorry, but I have to stretch and I have to yawn right now because I am so goddamn tired. But anyway, marijuana paraphernalia, you're going to go in jail for quite a long time. So, way to go, dude. Moving on to our next story, which comes out of Pennsylvania, where a man's flight to freedom was cut short after he decided to celebrate his successful jailbreak by stopping off at a local watering hole to have a beer. Police in Washington County were processing Smith Township resident Timothy Bonner on assault charges when the 40-year-old allegedly knocked the holding cell door off its hinges and escaped from the building. He borrowed a pair of shoes from a nearby residence and made a beeline to Richie's bar for refreshments. Quote, he asked me to buy him a beer, so I bought him a beer, customer Robert Smith told WPXI 11. Quote, he didn't even get to take a drink before it he didn't even get it to take a drink of it before they slammed him on the bar. Before he was arrested, Bonner did manage to brag that he just broke out of jail. Quote, he was only there for a few minutes before police showed up. Smith told a television station. Bonner is now facing additional charges and remains in Washington County Jail on a $10,000 bond. He remains in a Washington County Jail on a $10,000 bond. Dude, why did you brag to a bar that you just got out of prison and then the next thing you know, boom, you're going back to jail for breaking out for escape? And on top of the assault charges, and you're being held on a $10,000 bond. Way to freaking go, dude. You don't brag to people that you just got out of prison because they are going to call the police and you're going to go to jail again. God, people don't know how to think with their heads half the time. Or even at all, I should say. But moving on to our final story, which comes out of California, where the digital age has claimed another victim. San Francisco's Animal Control Agency is having trouble offering puppies a place to pee thanks to the downturn in the newspaper printing. The San Francisco Chronicle reports the agency relies on newsprint to line its cages, but has seen a shortage lately. Agency supervisor Eric Zucher, I probably mispronouncing that for the life of me, told a local newspaper animal control used to rely on public contributions and donations from the Chronicle. A turn toward online digital media, however, has resulted in a shortage of cage liner. The city's public library has stepped in to fill the gap by donating its used newspapers twice a month. Well, it just comes to show that you freaking green hippies trying to say, oh, don't use the newspaper, save the trees, go digital. Yeah, look what is happening. Dogs need papers to pee on, and look what happens. They ran short, and now the library, thanks to them, so good job, library, way to go, by donating your newspapers for them to pee on. So, if they don't have anything to pee on, who's to blame? The papers and you freaking digital reading hippies who say, oh yeah, I have a Kindle Fire, I'll just read the paper off of that. I mean, there are people who can't afford those things, so why would you stop printing newspapers? Because we all know that a vast majority of Americans can't afford Kindles and stuff like that, so therefore they need the paper to read stuff, though. But hopefully they can get this thing all sorted out. But anyways, guys, that is it for this edition of Odds and Ends, and I really hope you guys enjoyed listening to those stories as much as I like reading them to you, and I apologize that I cannot communicate and that this odds and ends has just gotten really crazy, but Thursday, like I said before, Thursday, new edition of Odds and Ends, and I won't be late, I promise you. And until next time, we'll see you guys later, and take it easy.